I think one of the reasons people who are broken or sad or find people hard to deal with, like animals, is because they don't dissemble, they don't lie to you, they're much easier to trust. The book is about how my father died very suddenly of a heart attack. It was a terrible time. And I think sudden death has a particular aftermath. It's like the world is torn in two. And my father and I were very good friends, and I decided to train a goshawk as a way of dealing with my grief. I don't recommend this as a way of dealing with it generally. And I ran away from humans. I decided to associate myself with this hawk. And it was a way of escaping not just human society and not just my own emotions, but trying to escape who I was. Sometimes it was like trying to piece together a very difficult jigsaw puzzle, like you sort of, you weren't quite sure where the pieces went. Sometimes it was like maybe you were trying to sew or embroider something very complicated. But sometimes the book almost wrote itself. It felt that it was a bit like maybe, I don't know, trying to think of a metaphor. It was like trying to ride a horse. Sometimes the horse would not do what I wanted it to do and would want to go off there. And I'd learned to trust what the book wanted me to do eventually. I think one of the reasons that the book won prizes, and I was very surprised about the fact that it won prizes, I thought it was a very strange book, and maybe the strangeness would be off-putting to readers. But apparently this is one of the reasons they liked it. It was a book that mixed many different genres. It's partly a grief memoir, it's partly a work of nature writing, and it's partly a kind of literary biography of the writer T.H. White, who also tried to train a goshawk in the 1930s. And I think, I wanted to mix those genres. I wanted it to be as broken and as sort of the narrative to be as smashed around as narratives happen. After you've lost a parent or a friend, the stories you tell about your life, they do become fragmented and all over the place, and I wanted to mimic that in the book. I read everything from cereal packets to science fiction to, I've always thought that, never stick to one genre. I like very much the new nature writing coming out of Britain. I particularly like the work of a poet called Roger Langley, who's not very well known but an extraordinary writer. When I was writing the book, actually, I found it very hard to read anything literary. So what I did, I used to listen to radio dramas. I listened to a lot of Agatha Christie radio dramas. I listened to a lot of Shakespeare on tape. And I think those two things were a big influence because they were running around in the back of my head while I was writing. So Shakespeare and Agatha Christie. Read as much as you can. I think this is this is a lovely piece of writing by the extraordinary American nature writer Barry Lopez. He was once asked by a woman on an aeroplane, I think, that his daughter wanted to write, what should she do? And he just said the same thing, read everything. Don't just read literary works, read everything you can and absorb it. And I think that sense of sort of playfulness and freedom that you can achieve from reading widely will always show in the work you produce.